That's what he wanted to call himself, and shooting friend. So we're gonna, we'll get to that video pretty soon. It's in production right now. It's getting all edited together, but and we'll have a whole lot of different things we'll show you. A lot of different guns out there, and some equipment that we used, and so we'll report back on all that. But anyway, this was something that I didn't intend to necessarily do a review on, but I thought I would because it's fresh on my mind and I want to share it with you guys. This is a Wild Game Innovations rangefinder. And let me pull it out of there. There's the battery there. It uses a 3-volt lithium battery that costs $6 a piece. Ouch! And they're kind of expensive, but it requires 3 volts. It's a CR2 battery, and there you go. What can I say? So anyway, actually, this becomes a drawback for me, at least with this specific product, because it is such an expensive battery. I wish they were just using like a couple of AAAs or something. Those are a little cheaper, and you'd probably get enough life out of it for the way you use this thing. Let me pull this out of the package, or out of the bag, and there it is. It's the Wild Game Innovations Halo, and the model number on this is the R400 rangefinder. And as you can see, it's got a viewport here, and then the laser rangefinder port there, and this is the viewing port. Got a couple of switches, the power switch and the mode switch. So there are a couple of modes. One where you can select yards or meters, and then you can select it to be, you press it and it reads, or you can press it and it'll continuously read, so you can do different, look at different things, and it'll keep ranging as you go, and then you'd press it again and it shuts it off. So that's how it's supposed to work. So here's the story. I bought this thing back in 2010, so it's been a couple of years that I've had it, and I've actually only used it one time successfully. And you can probably guess where this review is going. This is probably not going to be a very good review or a positive review for the Wild Game Innovations Halo. I had it for about a week and used it once, stuck the battery in, and started range finding and did a few little things so I could just figure out locally here what some of the ranges are that I wanted to shoot at when I was shooting some pellet guns, so we can mark out some targets and distances. And it worked well. I was able to look and look through the viewfinder there and range out 20 yards. Now this thing is supposed to be good from 7 yards all the way out to 400 yards. Okay, and I think it's 7 yards, but anyway, I could get a 10-yard reading, I got a 100-yard reading, I got a 250-yard reading, and I got a 300-yard reading with no problems at all. And that was the first day I bought it. So thumbs up on that, okay? Then I just simply turned off the power, put it back in its bag, I left the battery in, and I put it on my shelf, and it was on my shelf for about 3, maybe 4 weeks. And I went and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that thing again and range out a few other things. I pulled it out, and the battery was dead, apparently. It drained the battery. And I know that it was turned off because, well, at least I assumed it was turned off, because before I put it away, I took the battery out, and I thought, now I'll put it back in and just pack it away. I'll use it again pretty soon. And so I did. I left the battery in, but the battery was dead. And I took my Vohm meter and I tested it, and sure enough, it was dead. So I went out and bought another battery at $6 a piece, I might add. Stuck it in there, and the thing lit up like it was supposed to. Although it looked as if the LCD display inside was a little weak, or it wasn't very contrasty. So I thought maybe the battery just is not all that good. But anyway, I went outside and I range finded a couple of things, and I had some difficulty with it. I had some difficulty reading the display, but was able to range out a few things, and it was working. It seemed, at least for range finding, okay. Did that. Then I decided that second time I used it, which was about a month after buying it, that I would take the battery out, because these things are rather expensive, and I would pack it away, put it on my shelf, with no battery in it, and there you go. Well, it sat on my shelf, and it's in a place where nobody would have had access to it, and I never touched it. I just let it sit there for about a year and a half. So now, a few days ago, before going on the shooting expedition, a year and a half later, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to take this with me. I got some other friends with me. We're going to range find some things, make it a little easier on ourselves instead of pacing things off. I got that thing. I'm just going to bring it. Well, I went and I got a brand new battery, or excuse me, the battery that I took out, which had only been used one time when a year and a half ago, and I slipped it in there, and the display only half lit up. That is, the numbers, only half the numbers showed, and the numbers that did show were very weak. And I thought, wow, is that battery drained? It sat outside. How could it be? So I vomed it, and it was fine. You know, it had 3 volts, but I thought, well, maybe under load, for some reason, that particular battery went dead. So I went out and bought another battery, this one, at $6. And I vomed it before I put it in here, and it was 3 volts. I was like, something's interesting here. I popped it in there. Same thing. Only half the display lit up, and what was lit up was kind of dim. It was hard to read. Then I started range finding, and this was out now the day before we went out in the field, and it wasn't working properly. Things that I knew were 125 yards away or 250 yards away were saying it was 38 yards. And I thought, uh-oh, something's wrong here. I made sure everything was clean. Again, it was in its pouch, just sitting on the shelf. But, you know, I cleaned things off carefully with the cloth that they give you with it. And it was inconsistent, because at the same spot that I would look at that it just a minute ago had said 38 yards or 37 yards, it said something like 56 yards. But I know I was shooting, or I was pointing at something that was at one point 125 yards and another one 250 yards, and it just was not reading correctly. But I was going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say, well, it was later in the evening, it was past dusk, there wasn't a whole lot of light outside, which, by the way, a laser rangefinder doesn't require a whole lot of light, because it reflects the laser light back at its receiver, and that's how it tells how far things are. But I would give it the benefit of the doubt and figured, okay, it could be, maybe I'll just take it tomorrow, I'll be out in the sunshine, and I'll range find, and we'll see how it goes. Well, got it out to the place where we went shooting, and again, you know, you'll see that video coming up. But we tried it out, and same problem. It would not read accurately. Things that we would have suspected to be a couple of 100 yards away, just because by sight, you know, you kind of know what's 200 yards or maybe 250 yards. It was coming back with an error, and at one point it even registered 405 yards, which this thing is only supposed to go to 400 yards. So I don't know what was going on. I'm hoping some of you guys understand what might have happened. Now, I've already tried to get a hold of Wild Game Innovations. They have not responded yet. I'm going to give them another day or so to see if they can respond to my inquiry. Down here, there's a serial number. I sent them the serial number, all of that stuff. Oh, and by the way, when I went on the their website, they have a little box that says, if you want information about our rangefinders, click here and you can send us some information. I clicked there. A window pops up. I typed in my email address and my little comments and my questions and my, basically saying, hey, help, something happened here. What am I doing wrong? And, well, it never went anywhere. So I went on the Facebook page, and they do have a Facebook page. And I sent off the request that way. But still haven't heard back. So guys, would you do me a favor? Leave a comment. If you have any experience with the Halo R400, and would you let me know if yours are still working? And if it is, and I follow the instructions to the T, I'm telling you. But if it is still working, how long have you had it? And maybe what serial number it is and all that. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of why this thing is not working. And I'm hoping that Wild Game gets back with me, and so we can have a little bit of a dialogue. But at this point, I cannot give this a high rating. This particular one a high rating. I had a problem with it. And it's not working the way it should. So help me out, guys. If you have any experience, leave some comments below. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Give me a like. And go ahead and comment. And say, hey, I've got the Halo R400 and here are my experiences with it. I'd love to hear what your experience is with this thing. My experience with this specific one is not a good one. So I want to hear. All right, well, stay tuned, subscribe, and we'll get out to you a new video about that shooting expedition I was referring to. Got the Smith & Wesson M&P 9 that we went shooting. We had a couple of different shotguns. We had a 1894 rifle, large loop lever rifle that we had an opportunity to shoot. That was a lot of fun. That was a 30-30. Nice gun. Had a Smith & Wesson 686 357 Magnum. It was the 686 Special. Nice gun. So we had some things out there. We'll do a little go see on some of that stuff. In the meantime, this is the Shooting Guy. We'll get back to you. Let me know, guys. Comment, okay? Thanks. See ya.